Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today, we're looking at the top 10 most inspiring stories of Muslims. Number 10. Shanna Bukhari.
Shanna Bukhari may or may not have realised how brave she was. Her dream was to represent Great Britain in the Miss Universe pageant. But while Bukhari was born in Great Britain, her parents were from Pakistan. Competing in the pageant, especially the swimsuit competition, riled up some of the hardline fundamentalists in her religion. Shanna said that most people do support her, including her family in Pakistan, and that she wouldn't be wearing a bikini but a one-piece and a sarong. Bukhari actually received death threats for her choice to compete, but participated in the 2011 pageant anyway. Bravely, she weathered the storm to not only show her own beauty, but also the beauty of her culture. Women such as Bukhari are inspirational, especially to young girls, to follow their dreams, even if that path may lead to disagreement from others.
Number 9. Muslim tipster stops terror plot.
Farooq Ahmad had every intention of becoming a terrorist, joining Al-Qaeda and participating in a plot to bomb a subway. How do we know all of this? A Muslim within Ahmad's own community tipped off the FBI that Ahmad was an Al-Qaeda sympathizer. This led to a sting operation in which FBI agents recruited and captured Ahmad. Though the tipster was not identified, they had an inspiring level of bravery to bring a potential terrorist to justice in their own community. If they had been found out, their life would have been in severe jeopardy. In many ways, their life remains in jeopardy to this day, as they are always in danger of being exposed. As for Farooq Ahmad, he's currently serving a 23-year prison sentence.
Number 8. Men get Purple Hearts for assisting America in Afghanistan.
Shah and Nissa are two young men who could have had much easier lives had they simply done nothing. However, the young Afghani men could no longer tolerate terrorism in their own country. At great personal peril, they helped the United States Armed Forces by becoming linguists during the war in Afghanistan. Shah and Nissa were repeatedly targeted and injured. In recognition of injuries incurred in battle, both men received Purple Hearts. Even then, they continued to serve with the Americans. They never wavered from their resolve or their Muslim faith. Today, Shah and Nissa are in America on a visa to continue their education. Sometimes, doing the right thing means having to stand up to those closest to you.
Number 7. Mohammad Salman Hamdani.
On September the 11th, 2001, Mohammad Salman Hamdani was a student at Rockefeller University who heard an explosion. Hamdani possessed no official authority capacity, but that did not matter to him. Hamdani rushed to Ground Zero to try and save people hurt by the terrorist attacks. For this, the 24-year-old Muslim lost his life, and his body was later found in the rubble. When the United States Patriot Act was written, Hamdani was mentioned in the act as a Muslim American who boldly risked and ultimately gave his own life for his fellow Americans. In a world that would focus on Muslim extremism for a long time after 9/11, Hamdani managed to show the world the other side of the coin that very same day.
Number 6. Mirza Masroor Ahmad.
Mirza Masroor Ahmad is the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. In 2011, Ahmad and the Ahmadiyya Muslim community started a drive among the Muslim community to give back what many Americans felt was taken on 9/11. They challenged Muslims to give their blood to save lives. More than 11,000 units were raised in the first year of what became known as Muslims for Life. Hopefully, more will be raised in this continuing yearly effort. Ahmad has also gone out of his way to decry any type of terrorist attack. He has called for peaceful temperance whenever a situation arises that might lead to violence in his own community, and continually tries to stave off the violence that he believes might well be inevitable.
Number 5. Auda Ibu Tayyi.
Auda Ibu Tayyi, like the fictional Conan the Barbarian, had a sword that could turn the tide of a war. T.E. Lawrence considered him to be instrumental in the Arab revolt. On that point, the Turks tried several times to recruit him and his considerable fighting prowess. Tayyi ultimately sided with Lawrence against Constantinople. He took part in raids for years, but would often give the spoils of those raids to others. With that, he grew in legend as something of a Bedouin Robin Hood. He not only inspired his countrymen of the time, but also those of future generations. In the end, he would die peacefully in his home, inhabiting a country he had helped create.
Number 4. Anwar al-Sadat.
A man who chooses peace over war can often do so at great peril to himself. This was the case with Anwar al-Sadat. For years, Sadat, as the leader of Egypt, worked closely to destroy the state of Israel in the 1960s and 1970s. In the end, al-Sadat turned his attention to peace and not war. Al-Sadat put his signature on the Camp David Accords, the first World War II peace treaty between Egypt and the State of Israel. For this, al-Sadat earned both a Nobel Peace Prize as well as a target on his head. In 1981, al-Sadat was assassinated while conducting a military review at the site in the Suez Canal where he had once sent soldiers to attempt to destroy Israel. Al-Sadat's legacy remains that he died a martyr to the ideal of peace in a religion that desperately needs it.
Number 3. Tawakkol Karman.
Tawakkol Karman knows all too well the dangers of a woman speaking her mind. As a journalist and human rights activist, Karman, through outlets such as her Women Journalists Without Chains organization, continues to speak up about such hotbed topics as the suppression of women in her own country. For her efforts in 2011, Karman became one of the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureates ever. Karman continues to serve as a voice as well as an inspiration. She often spends her days protesting out of a small tent and will hopefully keep that voice for many years to come.
Number 2. Shirin Ebadi.
In 2003, Shirin Ebadi became the first Iranian, as well as the first female Muslim, to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Ebadi rose to the position of judge in Tehran before the Islamic Revolution in the 1970s. After the revolution, Muslim clerics considered her to be unsuitable for a judgeship on the basis of her sex. Ebadi continued to fight and try to establish a private law practice, taking on many human rights issues, particularly for women and children, that many other lawyers were scared to confront. The Iranian government has been antagonistic towards Ebadi's efforts, to say the least. She is the first Nobel laureate to have her medal confiscated by her own government and has had her bank accounts frozen due to taxes levied on her $1.3 million prize. Despite literally decades of persecution, Ebadi still has managed to write, lecture, inspire, and litigate in her own country.
Number 1. Albanian Muslims save Jews in World War II.
If there was ever a time when Muslims could have enthusiastically taken advantage of anti-Semitism, it was during the reign of Nazi Germany. All European Muslims had to do was turn in Jews or people suspected of being Jewish sympathizers. Adolf Eichmann and the SS were more than happy to take care of the rest. Albania, however, boasted a curious stat after the Second World War. It was the only country in Europe that saw its population of Jews increase. Since a majority of its citizens were of the Islamic faith, Albania felt it only right to take in and hide Jewish refugees from all over. In one documented case, a Muslim woman was unable to breastfeed her baby, so a Jewish woman that she was protecting fed the child for her. There was no hesitation on the part of the Muslim woman over a Jew feeding her child. In the time of most serious need, people like this forget about their differences and simply come together as human beings. More importantly, they both saw each other as children of God. When people who are thought of as natural enemies lie down together at night, you can't help but be inspired by the thought.
So I really hope you found that video inspiring. If you did, please do click like below and also subscribe for brand new videos just like this 7 days a week. And over there on the right are a couple of other videos you'll probably enjoy if you enjoyed this one. One is the top 10 most brutal religious ceremonies, and below that we've got the top 10 insane lies that people believe about the European refugee crisis. So be sure to check those out, be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.